Hey everyone, it's Jake from Walkie Farm and I'm home, and I thought I'd bring you a little bit of a different video today. I wanted to talk to you about our value added products and how we're actually generating cash flow and profit in our direct to market farm enterprise. When we started our business in 2019, we came in with the goal of producing food for our family. And if you've heard any of the podcasts I've done, if you've read any of my blogs on our website, you'll understand that I had an apex, a climax in my own health, and my allergies, skin allergies, respiratory allergies just got out of control. I was medicated. I was on 3 scripts, a nose spray, a tablet, and eye drops, and got to the point where the cure was worse than the symptoms, and I was starting to react to the medications as well. What are we going to do? Well, the Walkie family, we went on a food healing journey, and after we came out of that rabbit hole to get the food we wanted, which was chemical free, no drugs, no pesticides, herbicides, none of this junk, I couldn't find the food. So I had to start growing it myself, and that's what we did. And off the back of that, people started wanting the food as well. We started getting contacted by our friends, family, local community, businesses going, that food looks really good. We've got other people who are also on a food healing journey who want those products too. So we bought a butchery, Mrs. Walkie and I. We're not ones to mess around. We bought a few extra animals. It all worked really well on the balance sheet. But the reality is we watched all the YouTube videos. I read all the books. I could show you my bookcase here. If you can think of a book in this space, I've read it. If you can think of a blog or a YouTube video, I've seen it. Nobody talked about minimum viable scale. It's all well and good to breed a cow and then butcher it through your shop and sell $5,000 worth of meat. But what happens in the middle? Sure, you're achieving great value on that animal and great dollars per kilogram, but what about your operating costs? What about your time? What about compliance, regulation, green tape, red tape, the whole thing? Well, we've been doing this long enough now, and I've got a little bit of a business head on me, and we haven't hit minimum viable scale. To give you an idea, in the last year, we have probably put something like 350 pigs through our shop. We've probably done 250 lambs. Next year, it'll be double that. And maybe 70 bodies of beef, plus whatever other ancillary income avenue streams we have. And just with the cost of transport, the cost of freight, the cost of feed, the cost of the boxes, the cost of labor, electricity in my butchery is almost $8,000 a quarter now. There just isn't enough fat in the system, pardon the pun, to grease the wheels and to build a defensible minimum viable scale in our context anyway. So how are we going to do it? We're going to do it. We are doing it with value adds. And part of the way I like to think is look at what you're throwing out in the bin and try to figure out how you can make that the most valuable, highest margin item in your business. Now that might sound completely stupid to you, or it might sound completely idealistic to you, but I promise you the answers are there. So here's an example of one of our value add items. This is a skincare product that Mrs. Walkie has developed, and it's called Lard Balm. It is a moisturizer. You can't sniff it. This one's been used. This is one of our home ones. You obviously can't smell it. Let me tell you, it smells quite pleasant. And this is an animal fat skincare product. And you've all seen tallow balm, no doubt, becoming popular and a little bit viral in this crunchy space, in the holistic, organic, outdoorsy space, health space. And one of the byproducts from production is trim. So when you have a body of beef and it comes into your butchery, we end up with these big tubs of waste that gets thrown out the back. The renderer comes every week, he collects it, we get nothing for it. He goes and sells it onto a pet food company who then processes it, turns it into kibble and sells it. So our waste is somebody else's entire business, so we get nothing for it. Wrap your head around that. So we're looking in this tub, and what are the things that we're throwing out? We're throwing out a bit of fat, we're throwing out a bit of offal, we're throwing out some bone, some sinew, some cartilage, all of that sort of stuff. So fat is an amazing item to retain and create value with. So we sell, I'm trying to look, I should have brought another prop with me. We sell 300 ml jars of rendered fat. So that is, we do lamb tallow, we do beef tallow, we do pork lard, 3 SKUs. And we direct market that through our shop and through our website, and we wholesale it as well. And that's a great little money spinner. But we get $20 for a 300 ml jar, which ends up being if you can do your math, it's around $60 for roughly a kilo of fat. It's good, but when you're wholesaling that, which we sell most of that through wholesale, we're giving away a margin to the wholesale accounts. And once you add on freight, and everybody wants free freight, you do a bit of a deal. To be honest, there's not a whole lot left at the end of that. And it's also hard to build depth in your range when you're still talking about an enterprise with 1, 2, 3, 400 animals. We're not doing a tiny amount of pigs. I think 350 pigs a year is a decent amount of pigs. But if you're rendering all your fat into those jars and you've got 10 wholesale accounts, I guarantee you're going to be selling out all the time. So what did we do? Well, Mrs. Wolke has value added and made this beautiful skincare range, which has been getting fantastic feedback. That's 60 mil. So all of a sudden, we were able to create a lot of depth to the range. We're allowed to have a lot more inventory with the same amount of raw goods that we're processing. And so we're not selling out so quick. We can meet demand and lead into it a little bit. And this here is currently retailing for $25. All the feedback from the wholesale accounts that we're supplying are saying it's too cheap. It should be $30. And even then it would still represent fantastic value to other like-priced and like-styled products on their shelf. So this one's our lard balm. This is a pot set consistency. And what we've added into this is it's got pure Wolke Farm pork lard from our pasture-raised pigs. And it's got essential oils, bergamot and lemon. So that's a nice little product there. We've also got lard lotion. This one's runnier. I can't really show you because it's just about being all used up. But this is a lotion, not a balm. It's a runnier consistency. Same thing, pork lard, but it's got some different essential oils in it. It's got pure frankincense and it's got citrus. And Mrs. Wolke also combines certified organic coconut oil in this, and that gives it that more liquid consistency. This one's also extremely popular. They're the two original products that we launched in this range. We launched them a couple months ago and we've sold well in excess of 500 units each so far, which isn't much, but we are still in prototyping. Really, we're still in early stages of product development, not in terms of actually changing the whole concept of what we're doing, but in things like refining production processes, refining packaging, etc. And then Mrs. Wolke just released the baby balm, which is not just for babies. On here it says for bump to bub, or from bump to bub and beyond. That's my wife throwing tongue twisters at me. And this one is the same. It's the pot set pasture pork lard from Wolke Farm, and it's got lavender because the essential oil lavender is a bit more gentle for skin. And if you're putting something on a newborn baby's skin, that might just be a little bit more gentle than your citrus. Like with all skincare products, if you're going to be using anything like this, you should spot test it. Don't just wipe it over. Or if your baby's got nappy rash, don't just wipe it all over all their privates. Do a little spot test on their forearm and come back in half an hour and see if they've reacted. And if they haven't, you should be pretty good to go. But there's the 1, 2, 3 products. And like I said, we're retailing these for $25. We're wholesaling them, and with this product, we're able to offer the best wholesale margin out of our whole lineup. We supply over 200 SKUs in our range between beef, pork, lamb, venison, our value adds, our animal-based soaps, our honeys, our dehydrated pet treats, all the different things we do. There's over 200 products. These 3 SKUs here, we are able to offer the most margin to resellers. And even after we give them the biggest discount, it is still our best gross profit item in our whole business. Something that we're currently working on, I said we're still in product development. We're actually getting rid of these stickers and we're going to be printing straight onto the jar. I think it's going to look a lot nicer. It's really going to pop on the shelf. And we had a few issues with these barcodes not scanning for certain retailers where we've got prototypes coming through. But when we print on the jar, we're going to make that a little bit bigger, and I believe that that's going to alleviate that issue. Something else that we're currently in production of is these little sale boxes. So they'll come it's not going to be very easy to do this one-handed, but when we ship out to our accounts, it's going to be 12 jars as a minimum order quantity per style, and that'll slide down the front there. And then this box will get packed in a freight box and that'll get shipped. And then the stores that receive our skincare can pop the lid, slide that down the back. Where are we? And that's going to have the Walkie Farm logo with our little byline, food for your face, down the bottom. And then we've got a little spiel, a little stick that'll get printed on there just in plain black, but that's going to look quite nice on the shelf. And that's what I mean by product development. We're happy with the actual product itself, but just with all the other things that come along with wholesaling and scaling a product like that, that's what we're working on at the moment. So that's what we're doing with our pig fat. And I think it's really exciting. I've got a few other ideas. Another one, if you want a freebie, is bone broth. Now, don't roll your eyes at me. I know it's obvious, but do you know if you go into a Whole Food store in Australia and buy a glass jar of meat stock or bone broth, around that, anywhere from sort of 300 to 500 mil, you're paying anywhere from $20 to $30 for that. Now, we're throwing our bones out. So, of course, before you scream at me, we keep the soup bones, we keep the marrow bones, we keep the brisket bones for soup, for marrow, for dogs. There's a lot more bones to an animal. You've got all the knuckles, and you've got the femur, and you've just got there's a lot of bones that comes out of a 500 kilo cow, believe you me. And the other issue with bones is that they're low value and they're high volume in the sense that they take up a lot of space. So if somebody wants me to freight a box of bones to them in Queensland, the value of the freight is probably going to outweigh the value of the contents of the bones I can actually physically fit in that box. So it becomes a little bit of an issue. But these bones, we can add a carrot and celery and a bit of salt, and we can boil them up, and we can make a meat stock or a bone broth and jar it. And now we've got a high value, shippable, small, relatively shelf stable product that we can now direct market to anywhere in Australia, which we're really looking forward to doing. We love the ability and opportunity to get our products in front of people who desire and value them, because every dollar spent with us is another dollar going towards our missions on farm of treating animals well and healing our landscapes and our bodies. So there's a little bit about our value adds, being our lard skincare range. They are available on our website, walkiefarm.com.au. For retail, if you want to wholesale, you can email me, jake@walkiefarm.com.au, or contact me on any of our social media channels, and I'll give you the shtick. But apart from that, thanks for watching.